Bless you. I now call to order the subcommittee markup of the Legislative Branch Appropriations Bill for fiscal year 2023. This is a hybrid markup, so we need to address a few housekeeping matters. For members joining virtually, please be respectful of the members in the hearing room and do not talk over them when members in person have been recognized. For the members joining virtually, once you start speaking, there is a slight delay before you are displayed on the main screen. Speaking into the microphone activates the camera, displaying the speaker on the main screen. Do not stop your remarks if you do not immediately see the screen switch. If the screen does not change after several seconds, please make sure you are not muted. To minimize background noise and ensure the correct speaker is being displayed, we ask that you remain on mute unless you have sought recognition. The chair or an individual designated by the chair may mute participants' microphones when they are not under recognition to eliminate inadvertent background noise. Members who are virtual are responsible for muting and unmuting themselves. If I notice when you are recognized that you have not unmuted yourself, I will ask you if you would like the staff to unmute you. If you indicate approval by nodding, staff will unmute your microphone. Is that clear?
Got it. We all know.
Okay. I have no idea what I just said, but it sounded like. Finally, House rules. Finally, House rules require me to remind you that we have set up an email address to which members can send anything they wish to submit in writing. That email address has been provided in advance to your staff. Colleagues at the dais and online, this is our last subcommittee meeting. I very much appreciate the hard work and collegial attitude of all the members of this subcommittee, and particularly the contributions and cooperation of our ranking member, Ms. Herrera Butler. I also want to take a moment to thank the subcommittee staff on both sides. From the majority, Elizabeth Lapham and Faye Cobb, thank you so much. And from the minority, Michelle Reinschuttle, thank you for all your due diligence and hard work. If we could give them a brief round of applause. Thank you. Cool. Now let's get started with our subcommittee markup for the 2023 Legislative Branch Appropriations Act. I'm pleased to introduce the fiscal year 2023 Legislative Branch Appropriations Bill, which provides $5.7 billion, a 20.1% increase over the fiscal year 2022 enacted levels. This bill continues to build on our significant security needs and addresses many of the recommendations and security assessments received after the January 6th attack. Almost 70% of this increase is targeted towards security measures within the Sergeant-at-Arms, Architect of the Capitol, and Capitol Police budgets. These funds continue our investment in securing our Capitol complex. Threats against members have increased over the last 2 years, and this must not be taken lightly, nor will we take lightly the safety of our staff and citizens who travel far and wide to visit these hallowed halls. The bill provides the Architect of the Capitol $532.2 million in projects specifically aimed at enhancing the physical security of our building and are the result of security recommendations. The bill also provides $105.6 million in increased funding for the Capitol Police. This increase will allow the department to hire additional officers and close staffing gaps, expand capabilities to address threats against members, cybersecurity, and other investigations, upgrade and replace equipment, expand technical capabilities, improve training, enhance intelligence, and bolster wellness support. They put their lives on the line each day to ensure Congress can operate safely, efficiently, and carry out their roles as described in the Constitution. And it's this subcommittee's responsibility to ensure that they have the resources they need to do their jobs. Turning to the House, this subcommittee has heard the voices of several members wanting to provide increased opportunities for House interns. Paid internships pave the way for a more diverse and talented future workforce. The bill provides $20.6 million to expand the House paid internship program. This will increase the amount to $46,800 per member office and provide offices the ability to offer a livable wage to House interns. We also have increased funding to committees and continue to support these funds being used for interns both in D.C. and in district offices. The bill provides strong support for the operational needs of our other legislative branch agencies and offices. We have worked to provide resources that will make Congress more effective, efficient, and transparent on behalf of the American people. Today marks the 10th anniversary of the signing of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, the DACA program. Once again, this year's bill includes language to permit DACA recipients to work for Congress and other legislative branch agencies. I hope we can work together to welcome these members to our national community, to seek employment with Congress and the legislative branch agencies. Finally, we carry language that prohibits the cost of living adjustment for members of Congress. This is a strong bill. It is a much-needed investment in our workforce and providing for a safe environment across the Capitol complex. We must continue to serve and meet the needs of our constituents. I urge support for this bill. I would now like to turn to Ms. Herrera Butler, our distinguished ranking member from Washington State, which was the first state to celebrate Father's Day.
We love our fathers. Thank you, Chairman Ryan, also a proud father. And thank you, Chair DeLauro and Ranking Member Granger for being here today. I just want to give a shout out to Chairman Ryan for his leadership on this committee and being such a strong and ardent supporter of the Ledge Branch, which is really an embodiment of the Capitol community, whether it's wellness programs and making sure staff are cared for, to hardening the infrastructure to make sure it's a safe place to work and do business and to invite the American public to their home. I appreciate your leadership tremendously. I think I also wanted to mention that I really appreciate your willingness to add Republican priorities into this bill, which are important both to me and to my colleagues. The recommendation for fiscal 2023 Ledge Branch Appropriations bill provides $5.7 billion, excluding obviously the Senate funding, and which is really funny because they actually print their own pencils and they have their name on their pencils. I don't know if you've noticed that. We will not waste money on things like that here in the House. This is an incredibly important bill, and it has this number represents a pretty significant increase. It's a 20.1% increase, equating to $945.6 million above fiscal 2022. The House of Representatives increase of almost 9% is going to assist in our ability to be more efficient so we can be more effective in terms of serving our constituents, and by allowing for the development and the implementation of new electronic programs and platforms that streamline the legislative drafting process, which is very antiquated, and it's going to help facilitate collaboration between members and committees and the Office of Legislative Counsel. The investment in this modernization of these really outdated systems is going to have a significant impact for the members of Congress, but most importantly for the people that we serve. The bill also reflects the evolution of the Capitol Police's critical mission with an increase in funds of 17%. That's to keep pace with the increased complexity in challenges the department is responsible for addressing. This also allows for adequate staff, which we know has been a challenge, training and resources. These responsibilities require as they continue to protect the members of Congress, their staff, and the visiting public. The 83% increase received by the architect of the Capitol will serve as an effort to ensure that the Capitol campus is safe, open, and welcoming to all who work, live, and visit here by addressing the critical infrastructure issues and executing recommended security upgrades. Some of these initiatives some of the funds increases include replacement of the original main equipment parts and systems in the Capitol power plant, the construction of a new storage facility for the Library of Congress to alleviate the shortage of collection capacity, and the design and construction of recommendations from the security assessment conducted after January 6th, and the design of the final stage of the production facility renewal required to maintain the Botanical Gardens' rare and irreplaceable plant collection. The increases for the architect and the Capitol Police are justifiable, but with any significant increase, Congress must be extremely thoughtful in the way that these projects are implemented and provide attentive oversight of the funds being obligated. With its 4.6% increase, the library can expand access, enhancing existing services, and optimize its resources while continuing to execute a multi-year modernization effort in information technology, infrastructure, business processes, and targeted workforce skills. And over the next few years, The Library of Congress expects to welcome more than 2 million visitors a year and is reimagining the visitor experience to meet the changing needs of audiences in a post-pandemic world. This increase reflects the ever-changing environment that the Library of Congress is working through. And for those of us who are on another coast, it is nice to see the accessibility online and moving to these platforms for constituents across the United States. The increase of almost 10% for the Government Accountability Office will continue the GAO's oversight across a wide array of government programs and operations. And this increase will allow the GAO to review its opportunities and challenges associated with complex and cyber developments, national security challenges, and the rising healthcare costs, as well as addressing critical infrastructure concerns. So I support the resources and directives needed to safely reopen the Capitol complex and modernize the agencies that Congress depends on. I do, however, this legislation comes with a big price tag and many provisions that are not agreed upon or controversial. I remain very hopeful we can work through these issues and come up with a bill that everyone can support in the end. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for your work and for the work of your staff. And thank you to our staff, Michelle Reinschuttle, and my team for the work you all do on behalf of the legislative branch. I yield back to the gentleman from the state that brought us Lifesavers candy.
We are so proud, so proud. Thank you, Ms. Herrera-Butler. Appreciate your kind comments, and I feel the same about you. And always happy to work with you to make these bills better. Now yield to the chair of the full committee, Ms. DeLauro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and to you and the ranking member. My district is founder of PEZ, so if all of you at PEZ, and the Frisbee is from Connecticut, so there we go. Good morning to everyone. Thank you. I just might add for a second, the show goes on. We had a first, Congresswoman Granger and I were at the earlier morning meeting, so Appropriations is well underway. We did Defense earlier this morning as Ledge Branch, and there are 2 others this afternoon, 2 more tomorrow, so we're on the move here. So thank you. Thank you both to you, Mr. Chairman, and to your ranking member, Herrera-Butler. The great collaboration between the 2 of you and the commitment to the bill that's before us. Not possible without your effort and without the work of our staff. So thank the Legislative Branch Subcommittee staff for all their efforts in drafting the bill. The legislation the subcommittee put together is critical to the growth and the progress of our nation's democracy. Over the past few years as a country and as a congressional community, we've endured incredibly trying times, especially on January 6, 2021. And after a violent mob attacked us and our democracy, we responded in force to protect it. The memories of that day continue to haunt us and inform much of the work this committee has done since. It's a great bill before us. It builds on the important work that has been done in so many vital ways. The bill and the committee report provide significant resources to enhance the security of the Capitol complex to protect members, staff, and visitors. The legislation would provide an increase of more than $105 million above 2022 for the Capitol Police. This would allow for the hiring of up to over 2,100 sworn officers and 567 civilian members as the Capitol Police continues to strengthen and support its workforce. The Capitol Police will enhance its security measures, upgrade equipment, develop initiatives to make the workforce more transparent, more diverse, and better trained to deal with de-escalation and racial biases. And to continue to support our offices, we are funding wellness programs, professional development, and routine employment reviews. Alongside the funding for the Capitol Police are increased investments in the architect of the Capitol, which will support significant enhancements to the physical security of the Capitol complex. Our democracy only works to its fullest potential if Congress and our staff can fully support the people that put us here to serve. This bill provides a cost of living adjustment to the members' representational allowance, the MRA, the operating budget for congressional offices. This builds on our historic investment in the 2022 government funding package, which increased the MRA by 21% after a decade of disinvestment. To ensure that Congress can recruit and retain talented and more diverse staff, which in turn helps all of us serve our constituents. This is coupled with efforts to once and for all provide congressional interns a livable wage, $24.3 million to expand paid internship opportunities, providing an increase of $11,800 per member office. Far too many potential interns, particularly from working and middle-class families, are financially unable to accept unpaid roles, and this funding will ensure they can now serve. In that vein, the bill includes language allowing dreamers to work in congressional offices. The bill provides $10 billion for the House Modernization Initiatives account, an increase of $8 million. These significant resources to modernize Congress will make our body more effective, efficient, transparent on behalf of all of the American people. Proud of the initiatives, which when you take them together, they strengthen, they sustain this institution and our democracy. Because Congress and our democracy are strongest and most resilient when we prioritize safety, diversity, and progress. So I thank once again the chair and the ranking member for all of the work they have done to put this bill together. I encourage everyone to support it and look forward to working with you as we move through the full committee. I yield back.
Thank the chair of the full committee, and now yield to the ranking member, Member Granger. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Ryan, for presenting the fiscal year 2023 legislative branch appropriations bill. And I also want to recognize Ranking Member Herrera Butler for her work on this subcommittee. Both of you are dedicated to addressing priorities of all members of Congress, and I'll start with some of the items you've worked on together. The bill before us will enable more collaborative between members and staff, specifically through funding to develop the new electronic systems to draft legislation. Across the Capitol campus, buildings and infrastructure are in desperate need of attention. This bill allows the architect of the Capitol to perform delayed maintenance as well as implement safety enhancements. This bill also recognizes the service and sacrifice of our Capitol Police. It builds their workforce, both sworn officers and civilians, and makes security improvements. The bill also provides resources to implement the Inspector General recommendations to enable the Capitol Police to perform its mission. Unfortunately, I do have some concerns about the bill in its current form. Total spending for the legislative branch increases by more than 20%. This is based on a top-line funding level that was set with no Republican support when it was passed in the House last week. The legislation also includes provisions that prioritize government resources for items that sound like a liberal wish list. These are out of touch with how Americans expect the legislative branch to operate and where they expect us to spend their hard-earned dollars. While members of our side of the aisle disagree with the majority of their spending and policy decisions, we do agree we should start the process. By moving bills through the committee and to the floor, we can start the necessary work of improving these bills so they can be signed into law. We need bills that members on both sides of the aisle can get behind, so we need to start working now to improve them. Our markups today are just the first step in the process, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Granger. Is there any further discussion, or does any member wish to offer an amendment to the measure before us? Hearing none, I now recognize Vice Chairwoman Clark for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to favorably report the Legislative Branch Appropriations Act 2023 to the full committee.
All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Motion is approved. I ask unanimous consent that staff be permitted to make technical and conforming changes to the measure just approved. Seeing no objection, so ordered. Please ensure that the materials before you, the bill and the report, are returned to the subcommittee staff before you leave the room. Again, I would like to thank you all for your hard work over the years on this subcommittee. Without objection, this meeting is adjourned.